Hello, it's Wednesday the 8th, I'm FX Plume and this is the market brief. So the MPC meeting next week looks more likely to see another vote for no change. With the growing number of Omicron cases, that's driven enough doubt to shy away from any decision that may bind the bank for longer than at least 1 month. The science boffins, they need to gather more data. Currently, we have mixed messages about the new variant, where some say it is worse than the Delta variant and vaccines will need to be tweaked. Meanwhile, some say it's not as bad and vaccines will work. Either way, more data is needed, and rightly so. We've seen plenty of backlash in Europe from the cities that have reintroduced lockdown measures, so nobody wants to rush back into restrictions. And also, the majority of new cases are in the under 18, so the upcoming school holidays may create a natural barrier there. Despite all that, there are growing calls for the Bank of England to ignore COVID and hike rates to avoid inflation breaking the 5% mark in the new year. Retail sales continue to grow and the housing market hasn't slowed much from the withdrawal of support, so there is still a case to be made for a rate hike next week. But in the market, sterling is struggling against the dollar because there's a lot more certainty over US monetary policy. Remember, the Fed is expected to accelerate their tapering next week. We fell to 132.10 against the dollar yesterday, but we are holding up slightly better against the euro, where we opened around 117.35. Over in the US, diplomatic cracks are appearing with China and Russia. The US has decided that there will be a diplomatic boycott of the Winter Olympics to protest human rights abuses. The UK and Australia will follow suit. I'm not sure what effect that will have. I used to tune in to see Eddie the Eagle Edwards, not the diplomatic suits that turn out, but it has got up China's nose all the same, and they've said that the US will pay for this action, which they label as grandstanding. Just so we didn't feel left out, they've said the UK was an American puppet, and they've accused Australia of political posturing. So that's nice. But there's definitely nothing to see on the human rights front in China. There was also no progress on a call between Biden and Putin yesterday. That's because Russia continues to gather troops on the border with Ukraine. Biden has threatened swift and tough sanctions should Russia invade. But don't forget, Russia controls the taps to the gas line that supplies Europe, so it's certainly not one-way traffic on the threat front. The dollar index is supported by monetary policy and rate expectations, with further tapering of support likely to be confirmed next week when the Fed meet. We touched a high of 96.50 and saw the highest close since November 22nd, while euro dollar traded down to 112.40. So that's it from me. We are definitely not having a Christmas party tonight. If we were, then of course appropriate guidance would be followed, where social distancing would be based on the imperial system, defined by 2 inches, FNAF, and police will definitely not look back and investigate this in a year's time based on unsubstantiated anonymous claims. Even so, I wasn't invited anyway. Me? I'll be in Basildon, kicking indoors with the Essex police on drugs gangs. That's my Christmas celebration. Toodles.
If you do not have a clue, then just tweet through and ask FX Blue.